Hello there, all you amazing people. We are going to talk about piracy. Is pirating stealing? Because a lot of people, I talked with these people privately, I've talked to these people on my live stream. They deem that if you are stealing, let's say going to a store, you're pirating a shirt, that is stealing, because it's a physical product. There is a supply chain where people put money up front for it. It's representing physical value. But bits and bobs on the internet, that is digital art, digital, ones and zeros, is not stealing because you could just reproduce it. There's no upfront cost for it to be there. And I will tell you why that's wrong. But before that, subscribe to the channel, ring the ding-a-ling-ding-ding-ding button, and then when you watch the video, then you can comment. If you have not watched the video, don't comment. It makes you look like a fool. So, I'm going to tell you why you were wrong. That even if you're stealing this little box here that I made, my highly well-produced, sought-after, unique little red box, why, if you are taking this, is stealing. Before I do that, a lot of this may not be my own opinion, but it's how the law looks at it, or how society looks at it, or how the world works when it comes to this. So I'm not going to tell you what I think, I'm just going to tell you why it is stealing. So let's say this red box. I haven't put money down on it. Well, I bought the computer. I bought the graphic card, the CPU, the monitors, the mouse, the keyboard. So you could say that's an upfront cost. Just like you have to buy the threading for the shirt, you have to buy the machines or pay someone to make the shirt and stuff like that. So you could say that there is an upfront cost, but that upfront cost is being used for every other thing. Just like when you're ordering thousands of these shirts, they're also making shirts to other people. So there could be debate there is a little bit of an upfront cost. It could also, if it's a game or whatever it is, the development, the R&D, the testing, the alpha versions and all of that is upfront cost. It's cost that the company are spending until they start to get a return of the investment. Just like when I'm selling you a car, I put a lot of money into the production of the car. So when it's sitting in the car lot, you can physically touch it. There's physically labor put into it and stuff like that. I can't just easily reproduce it, so therefore that's stealing, because I can just click copy and a new one comes out. You're right, I can just click copy and a new one comes out, but that's not the case, okay? Why is it stealing to steal this red box? And why is it just like stealing a car or a t-shirt or stuff like that? Well, it's all about the value of the thing. So think again, I'll say it again, the value that is being put on these ones and zeros or this shirt. So the sake of argument, we go in here. Can we just use red? Is that easy to see? I think that's easy to see. Let's say let's see if I can make a dollar sign. I'm doing the pirate software here without the furry porn, by the way. I say this here, you can only get this legally, if you pay $10. So this box now have a value of $10. This is represented by 10 physical dollars in the world. Yes, this is easy to reproduce. So the reproduction cost is cheaper than reproducing a car. But that don't take away that this red box is representing $10. Let's say a car, just for the sake of easiness, is representing $100. No matter upfront cost put down or anything like that. It's not you as a customer's problem how the product is being made, or if there's any upfront cost or anything like that. That's the business owners, the production owners, that's their headache. For you as a customer, a car has a value, this red box has a value, this wallet has a value, this mouse has a value. It's all about the value that is being put onto a thing. A product, a thing. So if a game or if a video or TV series has a value of $10, when you're taking that, you are taking $10 away. Because that's what it represents. When you're buying a car, if you're buying a wallet, this wallet is actually kind of expensive because it's real leather and all that fucking bullshit. What I paid for this is probably marked up like 50%. So should I be like, because if you're following that this is not stealing because there's no upfront production, Should I only pay what they paid for the production then? No. If they are producing it, they can set the price. So when you are buying something, you are going into an agreement that I'm going to pay way too much money for a wallet, or a mouse, or headset, or a red box. And if you don't want to pay $10 to get the red box, you are stealing. Because that's what the money is being put on it. Are you hurting more people by stealing a wallet than this red box? There could be a really good debate that you are. There could be a debate, but that's not the case here. You are still stealing $10. Because that red box represents $10. This wallet represents about, I think it's like $100 or something like that. Yeah, it's an expensive wallet. But this represents about $100. Is it worth $100? Like, does it physically, like, is there enough labor and like, you know, there was a driver license, but is there enough like material here to warrant it costing $100? Of course not. Even though that I think this is handmade, it's not worth $100. I think it is, and I'm willing to pay the $100. So that's why I paid $100. I actually think I paid, let's say $90. But anyway, let's say $100. The same with this one up here. Do you think this red box is valued $10? No, then don't fucking get it. You say, oh, I'm just pirating it. Then you're stealing $10. I'm like, yeah, but I would not have bought it anyway. You're still stealing $10. There's a lot of you guys out there and girls that would not have paid $100 for a wallet, but you would steal a $100 wallet. I will say it again. A lot of people would not pay $100 for a wallet, but if they could get away with it without getting sued and caught, they would steal a $100 wallet. Because then it becomes accessible to them, like, well, I kind of want it. So the red box, you're like, well, I want it if it's free. I don't want it if I have to pay $10. So you as an individual do not value the red box for $10. That don't justify you for stealing it. Just like you don't value this wallet as $100, that don't mean it's okay for you to steal it. Because that's the argument that you're making. Again, it's not about the upfront cost or how much it costs to produce this versus this took me like 2 seconds to do. Again, you could say that I have a production cost of my equipment I use, but I could have made this on a $100 phone. Going onto the internet and draw this on a $100 phone. The matter of fact is that there is a legal value on this red box that says $10. That's the whole argument here. And that is why it's stealing, because every time, even though you can just produce, like, again, I can just click copy, but you are still taking away $10. That's the thing here. This has a value put on by me, the creator, of $10. So technically, you are taking $10 away every time you're stealing it. Even if you say, well, I would not have bought it anyway, fine, but there's probably other people that would have bought it that now saw you take those $10 without paying for them. That they're like, oh, how did you get that for free? Oh, I did this, and then they're doing the same thing. And they may have paid for it, or waited for a sale. So pirating is not so much about how easy is it to reproduce, or how much upfront cost is there, and how much is it actually hurting the person or the company. It's the value of the thing. A lot of people, they tend to look at, let's say, games and movies that's online as not a thing. It's not a physical thing. Well, technically it is. It exists in the world in forms of ones and zeros that are hosted on memory somewhere that takes up physical space, active space on a semiconductor, so to speak, or on a chip somewhere. That mean that physical space cannot be used by anything else. Like right now in memory, this little red box is there in memory and cannot be occupied by anything else. Even though it's really small, but it's still being occupied. There's still a little fucking electron or neutron or whatever you call, how far down, atom or whatever, how deep you will go down, sitting in my computer right now in memory and being like, I'm not fucking moving. And that little space is representing $10 because I say so. So it is kind of a physical thing. And just because you're not putting, let's say here, I didn't put paid labor into it. I didn't put physical, I'm spitting all over the place. I'm not putting physical, like wares into it. I still spend time doing it. I spend time drawing the thing, painting it. I could be a really big idiot and say, well, that little amount of time is worth $10. Designing this wallet is probably done by either a team or one person, depending on how big the company is. It's a one-time thing. They do a lot of testing, they do a lot of, versions of, but when they have the final product, they don't have to redesign it again. They don't have to, every time you buy a wallet, you don't have to then go through the whole design process. It's not like the schematics got thrown out and stuff like that. So there is a lot in real production, there's a lot of basically copying. I want to draw this in. That's not the problem here. That's a manufacturing issue. That's not your issue. When you're taking something that has a value of something, no matter if it's digital, physical, or whatever it is, you are taking $10 away. You are taking a value of $10 away. And there's a lot of people on this earth that steal physical things that otherwise would not buy them, even cheap physical things that would not buy them, that item, but they were willing to steal it. So is it okay to steal something that you normally would not buy in the physical world? Of course it's not. Like, you will say, like, you're fucking stupid. No, it's not. Well, then it's not okay to steal it if it's online. And if you're trying to justify that here there is a production chain and cost up front, you, my friend, are huffing so much copium that it's running out of your butthole. It's just you trying to justify stealing. Because that's not the issue. The issue is not how easy you can reproduce it. The issue is not, is there any upfront cost? The issue is, this costs 100, that costs 10. And every time you take that and you use that without giving $10 to me, you are taking something from me that represents $10, even if I don't have to do anything to reproduce it. Because if it was like, well, you really don't have any upfront cost, which you do, you have the whole design, like again, if you take a game, R&D, design, testing, it takes years to make a really good game. That's the upfront cost. Yeah, granted, there's no material upfront cost unless they're selling it in a physical form. But there is a lot of money being put in, like hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars being put in to make that game. That needs to be recuperated. And if you say, well, because there's no upfront cost, it's okay to pirate it, nobody's going to pay for it, aka you're not getting any games. That is why this is illegal, to take something that don't have any upfront cost. Every time they have to do a new copy of it, it's still regarded as stealing. Is because why would you pay $10 for something you can get for free? Nobody's going to do it. That's kind of the issue we have a little bit in open source. There is nothing in the world that goes against anyone to say this open source project cost $5. Why would anyone pay $5 for something they can just get someone else to take the source code, recompile, and say, here it is for free? Why would you do that? It's stupid. So if it was not stealing for pirating a thing that has a perceived value of $10, a movie, a game, or whatever it is, if that was not illegal, everyone would do it, and therefore no games or movies or online content would be created. You're shooting yourself in the foot. I'm just telling you how the law is and why it is like that. Because nobody's going to pay for something if they can get it for free. Nobody is. If you think there may be a few people, but not enough. Again, open source, a lot of projects that a lot of people want to stay alive, they die out because they have now the developer have a choice. And this, like, I've been in the open source community for close to 30 years. I've seen this more than not happening, where a project with one or a few people is like, we're doing this voluntarily, but we're giving it away for free. Now either you have to support us more, because it's a matter of either we can't do what you want us to do with the program, like the users, because it's taking away too much time of our day-to-day obligations. So either we have to stop working and working full-time on the project, but that means more support, because they need to pay their fucking bills, they need to pay for hosting, they need to pay for all these things. And I will say, like, from my experience, 8 out of 10 times when people do that, the people that are willing to pay that support or pay that project never ends up being enough for them to sustain that product. So they may be off work for 6 months or a year, and then they figure out that we can't make enough money, the community is not contributing enough, we have to go back to work, the product either stalls or get cancelled. And then someone else forks it, and it's never as good as the original one. Most of the time not good as the original one. And most forks don't last more than a few years anyway. That is to combat that. That is what you will get into if you just say that, well, because there's no... When it's produced, when it's done, when it's released, there's no more cost to reproduce it. We basically get into an inflation issue here. Where, well, if it's just a matter of copying, yeah, well, in real life, why don't you just copy money all the time? It costs no money to print money. It's free to print money. Well, we get into inflation when money starts to become basically valueless. They have no value anymore because there's so much of it out there. People don't need to work because there's so much out of it out there. We can just print money. Why the fuck should I work if I can just print money? Everything will stop. Everything will stop. And that's what's going on if you think that this is legal. That you, like, I'm not hurting anyone. They can just print another one. Okay, I can steal money then. I can go into a bank and steal money, but you could just print something else. It costs you the paper that it's done on, or the cloth is done on, or whatever, barbaric version of printing method that you're using to print money. Heck, most people don't even have physical money anymore. You can just say you have more money in the bank than you actually have. That costs nothing. It's just changing a value. But we all know what that does to society when people just say, oh, we have more money than we actually have. Right now, the most currencies in the world is not backed up by anything. It's all fictitious. Back in the day, they were backed up by gold or some physical thing. That they had that, like, as much money, like, let's say $1, as many dollars there were in the world, there was that much gold worth that much amount of dollars. That's not the case anymore. And that, you can see how the world is going. So the fact here is, it's really black and white. When you're checking this red box that I've spent 10,000 hours building, you are checking something that represents $10. No matter how easy it is to just make another one. It represents $10. So when you are taking it, you are stealing $10. Anything else you are saying is just you trying to justify to yourself that you are not a bad dude or do that. That you're not really doing anything bad. But you are. If you otherwise will not get a thing unless you can steal it. I can't find a good way of explaining why that is a really bad mentality and why that is a really bad outlook on life. Well, I wouldn't pay for it, but if I can get it for free, wink, nuts. Yeah, no, yeah, but again, this red box is $10. I wish I had like a currency bill here. Let's say the $100 bill don't cost fucking $100 to produce. Okay? The only reason a $100 bill is worth $100 is because the government and society both agree that it's worth $100. Just like this is worth $10 because the maker and the law agrees that it's worth $100. That's it. I put a license behind it. I put an agreement behind that you have to pay $10 to get this box. So legally, it's worth $10 because I say it's worth $10. So that means that me and society agree that, me and the law, agrees that it's worth $10. You may disagree with that, but then you have to go into politics to change the law. Because the law is, if I say it's worth $10, it's worth $10. And I'm like putting license behind it that you can't. So if you do steal it, I could sue you. So always think about this. It's not about how much it actually costs to produce something. It's not about if there is an upfront cost for the owner of the physical or non-physical thing. It is what is the value of the thing by law. And by law, a game or video or whatever it is has a value attached to it. Either a digital copy or physical copy has a value attached to it. If you're renting a movie and you can only watch it for 2 days for I don't know, $20, or not $20, $5, that movie for 2 days of availability is valued at $5. So at most, if you are getting that in other ways, you are taking $5 away. And then they could say, well, now because you now have access to it all the time, it's now worth $20 because you can watch it more than once. That's what the law says. And it's super easy. You can debate your ass out of your fucking body. Like, you can debate till your nose falls down about what's right and wrong and ethically, stuff like that. All that matters is what the law says. The law says this is illegal, so therefore it's illegal. It's that simple. The law says this is worth $10, so it's worth $10. So if you're taking it, you are stealing $10. Because that's what it's worth. Even if it's a fictional thing or a digital thing, it has a value of $10. By law, it has a value of $10. So the law sees that you are taking $10. If you want to change that and you don't agree with it, you have to become a politician. It's that simple. You could debate the speed limits in your county. The law is what the law is. If you want to change, you can say like, well, I feel I'm a safe driver. I can definitely drive, X amount of fucking miles faster. How many of those don't end up in jail or with a fine or citation? Like, how many of those is like where the cops like, I see that you're 18 years old. You have really fast reflexes. You're a little bit tipsy also, but you seem to be more sane of mind than the elderly lady over there. So yeah, you can drive like 90 miles per hour. How often do you see that happening? The law is what the law is. And that is what we come down to with privacy. Pirating stuff on the online. Again, you can have a lot of great reasoning why you think this is not legal or stealing. The law says it is, so therefore it is. It's that fucking simple. If the law says this is worth $10, it's worth $10. No matter if you would have bought it or not. It's that simple. The law dictates what's right and wrong. The only way you can change that is not by debating me or someone else or just doing it anyway. It's changing changing the law politically. Saying like, it's okay to pirate software or movies and stuff like that if you can 100% guarantee that you otherwise would not watch it or use it, which is impossible. But that's the argument a lot of people do. So if the law says that you are stealing, you are stealing. Just because you don't agree with it, don't make it right. See you all later. Bye-bye.